last year when we had just bought this place, we didn't have any gardening experience. We didn't have any materials or anything at all. So the first thing that we did was take cuttings from this fig tree and put them in two different batches. One directly in soil and the other one in water. The point of the experiment was to see what was the best way to propagate cuttings from a fig tree. We were told that they would grow regardless, which they did, but more importantly, it was said that it would be super easy, which it was. And we had about 20 cuttings, I think, that grew just lovely. New leaves were coming out after just a couple of weeks. But here's the thing. All right, so this is one of those plants. And when you take a cutting, I mean, it's a small thing. And it takes several years, I think, for it to bear fruit, because most of the energy needs to go down into the roots to establish it, to make sure that it becomes strong and survives. But this year I want to try something. This year I want to try something new. It's called air layering. You pick a large branch. So normally when you're pruning a tree, you would cut off anything that's pointing downwards, anything that is poking inwards, and just reducing a lot of this clutter to enable it to get ready for spring and new growth and be optimized to spread as much sunlight as possible on the entire canopy. But here's the thing, with air layering, you take a larger branch, for example, this one beneath here. You take that, and rather than cutting it off, you strip the bark from here. You strip off a piece, and then you take a plastic bottle and you cut it open on the side here, and you basically thread it over the branch. You fill it with compost and you wrap it up with tape, and then you just leave it. The idea there is that you leave it right there intact. It keeps drawing energy from the tree at the same time as it's establishing roots. So after a couple of months, you cut it off at the bottom, you remove the bottle, and here you should have lots of roots. And then this entire thing goes into the ground and can start producing fruit from the first year. I would cut off this, and I would leave 3 main branches to create a shape like this. And then you have a new tree producing fruit from the first year, growing a lot faster than those cuttings would, because they start from scratch basically. So I'm going to attempt to do that right now. You can see I've removed the bark and the outer white layer, and this is the wood inside. And it's time to cut the bottle and wrap it around. We have cut open the bottle, filling it up with some nice and nutritious compost. Now I'm gonna water it thoroughly and wrap it around the Christmas tree, the fig tree. So hopefully there'll be some roots growing inside here. Normally, what I saw in the videos that I watched on YouTube was that you wrap it up with aluminum foil to prevent light from getting in. But because this bottle is opaque, I don't think that's an issue. So I just wrapped it up with some packing tape and reinforced it with duct tape on both ends. And I left a little bit of a gap. I decided to try the lemon tree as well. And this bark really came off like a sleeve. Completely. It sits really loosely. And you just scar it and literally just peel it off. It comes right off. There we go. Lemon tree wrapped all up. Hopefully in 6 weeks we'll have some roots here. I cut it off from here, put it in some compost, and let it thrive. The question is, should I remove these flowers to let all the energy go in here? I don't know. Internet, say hi to Mowgli. This is a stray cat. It comes here on a regular basis. I actually bought food for him, so he's well fed now. He comes here when we're here, plays with the kids as well, has a lot of fun, a little bit snuggly mood. Our plaster's mixed. I'm going to use this jumbo spreader. And we're back. It's another day at the Stargazer and plastering is done. Corner is finished. It doesn't need to be completely flawless. That is fine. I've also plastered everywhere around and around and around. The window is done. Just needs a last sanding. And that's where we are right now. So next up is to start tackling the floor. By the way, I still can't decide which tiles I'm going to use for the bathroom, but that's a problem for another day. That's a problem for every day, actually, because I cannot decide what tile to choose. Shower tray goes in here. It's going to be 140 by 80 centimeters. I don't have quite enough space here because this edge here is 79 centimeters. So I'm going to have to push the shower tray in just like 2 centimeters underneath the wall there. I have plenty of space, about 5 centimeters, so there's no problem. Here, I'm gonna put a floor drain because I like to make a mess when I clean. So I just squirt water and then just scrape it down over there. It's gonna be right next to the shower tray. So next step here is to put a self-leveling cement to make it nice and flat. And once the floor is done, I'm gonna paint and do everything else that you want to do after all the dust is settled. Let's go. I had to dig a bit deeper to put the drainage pipe for the floor, for the floor drain. This is for the shower. I'm gonna split it here. Put a T thing, whatever it's called, and then put a floor drain here, right next to the shower. Pretty cool. There, so that one's gonna hook up to the floor drain, and this one continues here. And this is what I've been doing now. Excavating a bit extra. Now I got that nice drop. I think that is sufficient. On the other side of this wall, it drops an additional at least 10 or 15 centimeters just straight down before it continues wherever the water goes. So I think that is more than enough to have that drop over, what is this, 70 centimeters, to have all the water go down without any water staying. This is one of the reasons why I want to do this myself, because every time I do this with a plumber, a professional plumber, there are always hiccups, there are always problems, and they're like, the level is this and that, and we have to go lower, we have to go higher, and whatever they do, they always mess it up. The water doesn't go down as fast as it should, and I don't like that. I don't like to play with margins of 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters here or there. I want sufficient flow. Not too much, because that creates problems as well, but just to get rid of the water in a proper way. So after some small touch-ups and stuff around the walls, I'm now ready to paint. But I don't want to pull out the big guns for this, because it's just it's such a small job. I'm literally just going to do the ceiling, half the wall, half the other wall, and that's it, because the rest is going to be tiled. So that's going to be treated with the primer later, before I put the tiles. And I have a visitor. Hi, Mowgli. Anyway, here we got the little brother of the monster machine that I used for the rest of the house. It's a small little handheld thing. I've only used it once before for a tiny job in the kitchen. And this is the part you hold. And this is where you put the paint, and you just start spraying. I assume it's not that interesting to watch me spray paint a wall, but just in case you want to see how it looks, how fast it goes, here's a peek. So this is what the gun looks like. Here you regulate for what purpose it is, if it's wood and metal, walls or ceilings. So you adjust the air power here. This is how much paint flows through, and this is how wide it is. And this is if you want to go spraying like this or like that. So I've done a few test runs over there, and all right, this is what it looks like. This is just the first coat. I'm going to do a second one as well. But as you can see, it goes really fast, and I'm not really used to using this, so most likely in a couple of minutes I'll pick up the speed as well. One more thing to do for today, and that is a thin, nice, sweet layer of self-leveling concrete. Hopefully this time it'll turn out better than last time. I finished painting the first coat. Another coat will be applied after everything is finished. But now, let's seal in all the dust so we can undust the whole place. Okay, that's poured. Now it's gonna do its job, floating, gloating, bloating in all the nooks and crannies. So glossy. And a bit of it, I used this as a reference point. I wanted to be underneath the tile, giving it plenty of space so that when I tile later, it'll look nice. All right, I'm giving up for today. Tomorrow we continue, unless it rains too heavily, in which case we still continue. See you tomorrow.